Hello, everyone. My name is Kiran Martin. I'm an Indian pediatrician and the founder and director of Asha. Asha is a nonprofit that serves over 700,000 slum residents in the city of Delhi. For more information on Asha, please go to www.asha-india.org. There is also more information about Asha and about me in the description box below. Today, I would like to share my thoughts on hope during the pandemic. I decided to do this because the past 2 years have been long and hard for our slum residents, and many are feeling a sense of despair and hopelessness. One wave after another has meant that joblessness and hunger have been incessant and have become almost intolerable for many. They hear negative voices from everywhere, and this seems to have sapped them of their energy and their strength. I decided to address them all through a video that I just recently made for them. I reminded them of the early days when I first entered their communities. Children were dying everywhere. The slum was not a place fit for human habitation. Families were starving because there was little money and it was being spent on medicines. They did not know the difference between a quack and a real doctor. They wasted thousands of rupees they borrowed for poor quality healthcare. I reminded them of the days when their children rummaged in garbage, where the desire to send children to school did not exist, when they were involved in alcohol and drugs. I spoke to them about how the women would be too afraid to venture out of their homes. They were beaten, ill-treated, and dehumanized. Then I reminded them of how many years it had taken for their communities to change. Together, we had faced so many obstacles. The power and the ruthlessness of the slum lords, the apathy of the bureaucracy, camping on the main roads with fast-moving traffic when their slum homes were mercilessly demolished, and so much else. By and by, over the years, together we had overcome so many obstacles that felt insurmountable at that time. It was hope that had given them the strength to labor tirelessly for years on end to transform lives in their communities. And lives we had transformed by the hundreds of thousands. Their slum communities had become unrecognizable, having developed and advanced in many ways. I said to them, we have had so many good times, so many reasons to celebrate. We have experienced so much joy together as a community. We have never given up, no matter how difficult the circumstances may have been. Then the pandemic hit you like a bolt out of the blue, and you went into shock. When the first wave of COVID arrived in March 2020, you felt devastated. Just when you began to recover, the second wave came, and it came with a vengeance. Death was just around the corner. You saw people dying everywhere. After a few months, when we all thought COVID was on its way out, the third Omicron wave has caused curfews and shutdowns in the city. You have once again lost your jobs, and many of you have no money. Now you are at a point when you are completely fatigued and burnt out and feel that perhaps you will never get a job and that life will never be normal again. It has all become too much for you and you feel like completely giving up. But you cannot and must not lose hope. You cannot give up. You must keep trying to look for work. Keep believing in your capacities, your skills. Remember that your children depend on you. Maybe your elderly parents depend on you. And then I said to them, remember that the Asha family will always be with you to love you, comfort you, support you, and take care of many of your needs. When the first wave happened, the Asha team was there with you the very next morning. I reminded them that they had not been left alone during the first, the second, and the third wave for even a day. They had lived to see this day. I would like to take this opportunity to share with you all my reflections on hope during this pandemic. The definition of hope in the Oxford Dictionary is to want something to happen and to think that it could happen. There is a positive expectation of the future. Hope is not the same as wishful thinking. Wishful thinking does not respect reality. Hope faces reality and builds sound expectations. Hope has great power that we should not underestimate. It can build much inner strength. But hope is not present automatically. It has to be generated. It has to be cultivated. So how do we cultivate hope? Here are some thoughts on cultivating hope that I have also shared with the Asha communities in the slums. 1, I suggest that we believe in our innate capabilities and strengths, and we make a definite plan. For example, you may have lost your job. However, if you keep looking actively with persistence and perseverance and with an open mind, you are likely to find work. Therefore, we must just not give in to despair and helplessness. And if we do, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. 2, perseverance and persistence is one of the keys to success. I'm constantly reminding the Asha residents that it was only through perseverance over years that they found success in developing their slum. Some of you may have heard of Asha student Abhishek. He did a master's in management from Sydney University, and after returning to India, he could not find a job for 4 months. This had a lot to do with the pandemic. He often felt deeply discouraged. This brings me to the concept of borrowed hope. He borrowed the hope I had, and I was the hope lender. Today, he has found a job as an associate manager in a European telecommunications consulting firm. He had a plan, he persevered, he had in me someone to constantly help him believe that it would happen. And it did. 3, keep perspective and focus. Remember the many good times and times of success you have had over the years. You have been able to conquer so many hard circumstances in the past. 4, seek community. Don't go it alone. Hope is really hard to sustain in isolation. Relationships and community provide the reason for hope. They ignite our conviction to keep fighting. Sustaining hope depends on the company we keep. Community could be a religious group, a club, or any other support group. In Asha, it could be a women's group, a students group, or some other. 5, surround yourself with people who amplify hope, with positive and hopeful people. We humans generally have a negativity bias that we should be aware of. That is because in ancient times, we had to do everything possible to survive. Negative news on TV or on social media can sap us of our energy and make us feel so tired and drained. We then don't want to make any effort to change our circumstances. 6, the practice of gratitude generates great hope within us. It puts things in a completely different perspective. This practice can be done by thinking of what we can be grateful for, sending gratitude cards, writing gratitude letters, speaking words of gratitude, and in so many other ways. Similarly, the practice of compassion and affirmation also cultivate hope. These are all Asha values that I will expand upon another day. 7. Faith is closely related to hope. Faith in God helps us to go forth in the face of adversity. It enables us to take risks. Having faith is an act of courage. To those suffering in the slums, I say that you are always in my mind and in my heart. I can never forget you. You deserve happiness and a good life. Never lose hope. Hope is the only thing that will keep you moving forward. It will give you the courage to think that things will get better with time. The Asha family in India and around the world will always stand with you. To the international Asha family, I would like to end by thanking each one of you who have radiated light in the slums in the times of darkness among the poor. May hope, Asha, provide you with great power and inner strength during these days. As the saying goes, keep your face always towards the sunshine and the shadows will fall behind you. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my thoughts and reflections on hope, particularly during these challenging times in the pandemic.